For the purposes of demonstration in this video, we will be showing you the Modulex EXT model 641. However, the installation procedures shown in this video also apply to all models shown on screen. These video chapters are not a substitute for the instructional manual that accompany your unit, and are provided as an additional informational tool to help you operate your unit to its maximum potential. Before beginning the installation of your unit, please review this list of important equipment and instruments that you'll need to perform your installation. You should have assorted screwdrivers, metric Allen wrenches, and metric sockets, a ratchet with extensions and a U-joint, metric wrenches and an adjustable wrench, assorted pliers, tools for cutting the metal flow switch paddle, a hacksaw, and a forklift or a similar piece of equipment for lifting and moving your unit. Before we show you the procedures for installing your unit, some important warnings. First note, this appliance must be installed by a qualified engineer or technician. They must comply with the technical requirements and, under their own responsibility, guarantee the compliance of the standards according to the latest local and national regulations. Please use caution. The whole system should be thoroughly flushed in order to remove any residual dirt or grime. Not performing this step could compromise the correct operation of your boiler. Also, please take note. Properly treated system and feed water is essential to eliminate or substantially reduce the following problems from occurring: lime scale deposit, corrosion sludge, deposits, molds and bacteria. An appropriate treatment of the supply water will prevent these problems from occurring and will help you maintain the correct operation and efficiency of your unit over time. Next, some important notes on proper water treatment. In order to properly treat water for use in a hydronic boiler heating system, the following physical and chemical characteristics must be addressed. Water hardness. If the water hardness is over 9 grains, contact AERCO. Water pH. If water has a pH above 8 or below 6.5, then the water must be treated to provide a medium pH of between 6.5 and 8. Please note, for additional information concerning water quality and treatment, refer to AERCO Technical Documents Glycol Directive C401.0 and the AERCO Piping Application Guide GF-136-P. Your Modulex EXT is delivered to you fully assembled and carefully protected by a plastic bag inside a strong cardboard box that is fixed on a pallet. This allows your unit to be handled easily by a forklift. All units are capable of passing through a 36-inch doorway. This includes commercial-sized units. However, please note they may require minor disassembly to make this possible. In addition to your unit, you will receive additional components. Before we proceed with this list, please note that the components will vary from unit to unit. Your unit will be accompanied by the FLUE exhaust terminal screwed to the front of the frame, the sealing gasket for FLUE outlet mounted in the FLUE assembly, the sealing gasket for connecting the condensate tray and terminal, 2 bends, 1 T-piece and 1 plastic plug for the condensate drain, the screws necessary for installing the FLUE exhaust terminal, the external sensors, remote domestic hot water storage tank and an outdoor temperature sensor, a FLUE gas sample port for FLUE exhaust gas sampling tests, a resistor kit for emergency operation, 4 frame support feet, 3 covers for switching piping locations, 3 insulation gaskets for air intake. These are to be used for installation outside, a CSD-1 header, a pressure relief valve, 1 39-inch pipe for the condensate evacuation system, left and right side covers, a plastic bag containing the user manual and the E8 controller instruction manual, 2 pins to hold the burner assembly in a raised position, a temperature and pressure gauge, a flow switch, and a rubber pipe adapter. Commercial units will be delivered with all of the components we've already listed, as well as a burner lifting kit, an air intake starter piece that fits spiral ducts only. For any other vent or air intake starter pieces, contact AERCO directly. Now, we'll show you how to remove your unit from its packaging and how to install the feet. First, locate the front screw. unscrew it. Then, go to the back of your unit and unlatch the 2 latches in the back. Now, pull off all of the panels on your unit as shown here. Now, locate the 4 support feet from one of the cardboard boxes that accompany your unit. You will need to attach them to the chassis as shown. Proper assembly should look like this. Now that the feet are attached, place your unit on a concrete slab that resembles this. When determining where to place your unit within the boiler room, special attention should be paid to local regulations and laws about boiler enclosures and boiler rooms. Your unit should be placed onto a flat and sufficiently strong base. This foundation should have the same dimensions as the boiler and should be at least 4 inches high in order to assemble the condensate drain. Alternatively, a 4-inch deep well or trench next to the boiler that can accommodate the condensate U-drain pipe would also suffice. During installation of your unit, select a perfectly horizontal and stable location as shown here. This will greatly reduce vibrations and noises during operation. Particular attention should be given to the minimum clearances around your unit as well. Proper placement will allow for easier and more efficient servicing of the unit. This diagram shows the minimum clearances around a Modulex EXT boiler, 24 inches on all sides. Please note that clearances are similar for commercial units, but require at least 32 inches clearance on the vented side of the unit. First, let's show you how to change the exhaust outlet location. When your unit is delivered, the FLUE exhaust outlet terminal is located on the right-hand side. This is the standard delivery position. It can easily be moved to the left-hand side or rear position. A rear exhaust kit, which includes a hole cover for closing off the right-hand side panel exhaust opening, will be needed for this procedure. Next, let's watch how the gas manifold connections are reversed. The gas connection is located on the right side of the unit, which is the standard delivery position. To move it to the left-hand side, swap the end plate and the gas supply connector as shown. It is essential that all gaskets and connections are reversed along with the connectors themselves. Now, let's take a look at changing the water flow and return connections. This change requires that supply and return connectors are reversed as shown. Next, move the supply and return temperature sensors to the opposite end as demonstrated here. Exchange positions of the header outlet temperature sensor with the boiler sensor KF and the automatic air vent. On light commercial units, the boiler gas pipe is equipped with an external 2-inch male national pipe thread, or MNPT. The tailpiece of the gas shutoff valve can be connected to this as shown here. On commercial units, the boiler gas pipe is equipped with an external 3-inch ASME B 16.5 flange. When it comes to both light commercial and commercial units, the connection to the boiler must include a suitable method of gas shutoff, and a gas valve must be installed adjacent to the boiler for isolation purposes. The nominal inlet working gas pressure measured at the boiler should be 7 inches water column for natural gas. Here are the natural gas supply pressure requirements for your unit. Maximum pressure with no flow is 10.5 inches water column. Minimum pressure with the gas flowing is 4.0 inches water column. This should be verified during boiler startup. Now that we've covered natural gas piping connections, let's cover propane gas piping connections. First, use a gas shutoff valve compatible with propane gases. A drip leg must be installed upstream of the gas controls. Here are propane gas supply pressure requirements for your unit. Your gas supplier should provide a propane supply regulator, which should be used to adjust your unit to 13 inches water column maximum pressure. The pressure required at the gas valve inlet pressure port should be maximum 13 inches water column with no flow, minimum 8 inches water column with gas flowing. The nominal inlet working gas pressure should be 11 inches water column. The installation of the following pressure and temperature components are required for your unit: a flow switch, a pressure temperature gauge, an ASME compliant safety pressure relief valve that is designed for the boiler's output capacity. Now, we're going to show you how to install the pressure relief valve and other components. Begin by attaching the CSD-1 manifold to the outlet supply connection on your unit via the flanged connections shown here. Next, cut the flow switch paddle as instructed in your unit's manual. Now, connect the following components to the tapped holes in the manifold assembly as shown: the 3/4 inch pressure relief valve, the flow switch, and the pressure temperature gauge. Check to make sure that all components are secured tightly. Also, make sure that the flow switch paddle moves freely and without interference. Now, locate the flow switch terminal block by finding the FL label. It's located at the front of the unit, as shown here. Remove the black jumper wire and insert the 2 wires from the flow switch connector as demonstrated here. Flow switch wires have no polarity, so they can be inserted regardless of position. When installing your boiler, AERCO recommends a 20 mesh strainer on the water return line. Now it's time to install the condensate drain piping. It's essential that the condensate siphon be filled with water before boiler operation. Fill with water. Water should flow to the condensate drain as shown here. Before we go any further, an important warning. If you're installing your unit in a location where freezing may occur, the installation of proper measures to prevent the condensate from freezing is required. AERCO recommends the installation of standard heat tape. If using sealed combustion, install the air intake into the side of the unit as demonstrated here. Begin by working the gasket around the inner lip of the adapter as shown here until it fits into place like this. It's important to note that the gasket may appear to be too large for the adapter. This is an intentional design that allows for a tight fit. Affix the exhaust manifold adapter to the unit. Plug the open port. Affix a suitable plug to the inspection port in the European to American FLUE adapter. Insert this adapter into the gasketed adapter. Remove the paper backing from the gasket and affix it to the European to American adapter as shown. Install the PVC vent starter piece by affixing to the gasket using the nuts and washers that accompanied your unit. If it isn't already integrated into the venting, you'll need to create a test nipple for measuring combustion gases. It should be installed onto the first 3 feet of the flue. Begin by drilling a small hole with a diameter of 0.83 inches as shown here. Use the included kit to create the test nipple. The flue must be impermeable to exhaust and must be made of corrosion-resistant materials. Take note, the light commercial Modulex comes with a vent starter piece for PVC. For other starter pieces, contact AERCO directly. In order to determine the proper cross-section and height dimensions of the exhaust piping, you should adhere to national and local rules, as well as adhering to the AERCO Venting Application Guide GF-136V. If you are using PVC venting, the FLUE venting pipe should be affixed to the adapter using RTV. Then, it should be clamped with a worm-driven hose clamp as shown. When using plastic venting materials, use single-wall uninsulated pipes, Schedule 40 or thicker. Regarding the main electrical supply connection on your unit, a 120-volt, 60 Hz power source is required. Make sure you wire correctly, white to blue, black to brown, and ground to green and yellow, as shown here. This is the E8 controller on your unit. Due to many possible configurations for controller terminal assignments, please refer to the manual that accompanied your unit. We hope you found this presentation to be a useful tool for learning about the best installation practices and design features of this AERCO product. These video chapters are not a substitute for the instructional manual that accompanied